Hello guys, it's Richard here again, and as always I'm so glad you took the time to tune into the channel. Now I don't know about you, but I often find myself drawn back to a familiar location to shoot the night sky and landscape, and there are some places that seem to just have that little bit more attraction than others, and for me that's the amazing Grampians National Park. Now, I usually visit this place about once a year, and you would have seen my adventures there over the years. Well, earlier this week, I find myself over in that area again. Now, initially, this wasn't for a photo shoot at the Grampians at all. I was meeting up with some people for a discussion about my work. We'd actually had a great night, which even included a quick shoot at a lake after the meeting. But as the time marched on, I thought I'd better get moving, as I had about a 3-hour drive in front of me just to get back home. And so as I left that spot, I glanced at the GPS in the car just to get my bearings, and sure enough, it was showing the distinctive outline of the Northern Grampians on the map. And you know, I thought long and hard about whether to take the detour back to this favourite spot of mine. Well, you know how that went down, don't you? So anyway, off I went. It was a magnificent night with no cloud cover at all. And I reasoned that, look, I wasn't going to be back in the area anytime soon, and it was too good an opportunity to pass by. So I punched in the destination into the GPS and soon found myself in the familiar mountain territory that I love so much. Now, you may remember that I visited this location back in June and climbed one of the peaks there to shoot a day to night time lapse. Well, as you may remember, that mission didn't quite go as planned. And ever since that visit, it was nagging away in the back of my mind to revisit probably next year. Well, my revisit had come earlier than expected, so I arrived in the car park and quickly got my gear sorted and started the journey up the mountain. Now, to be honest, it isn't a steep climb, but I was already pretty tired after a full day, so I was starting to feel the familiar leg cramps that I often get by the time I reach the top. Now, the last time I visited this spot, I was looking to shoot the rising Milky Way galactic core over the mountains to the east. But now the Milky Way core was setting in the western sky. I knew this would be a spectacular view because of the gorgeous rock pools and rugged landscape that these mountains are made of. Also, we've had a lot of rain in recent days, and the pools and the crevices would be full of water. I wasn't actually 100% sure how my composition would look, but I'd pretty much decided on shooting a panorama. Now, the large town of Horsham is situated in the northwest, but I was hopeful the glow would be somewhat diminished by the imposing peak of Mount Zero in that direction. And this worked out pretty well, as the majority of the galactic core was further to the southwest of that. You know, even though I was there to shoot the scene before me, I found myself pausing on numerous occasions just to soak in the atmosphere of this special place. It was just so beautiful and peaceful up there, all alone in the middle of the night, not a soul around for miles. Forget about the photos, it was worth the effort for that experience alone. Anyway, I set the tripod up and got it nice and level. Then I started shooting. There was absolutely no moonlight at all, so the foreground was pretty dark and gloomy. I knew I'd be shooting different exposure settings for the foreground as opposed to the sky to bring out the detail in the rocks. And after all, that was my prime reason for wanting to go up there in the first place. So I shot the sky at my usual settings of about 15-second shutter speed at f2.8, ISO 6400. I was using the Nikon Z6 Mark II and the Nikon 20mm f1.8 lens. So I shot a number of images to get the full width of the galactic core above. I applied plenty of overlap between each of the images, as I always do. Then I proceeded to shoot the foreground. I did pretty much exactly the same with that, except that I lengthened the shutter speed to 90 seconds. That's one of the great things I love about the Z6 Mark II. It has these extended shutter speeds built right into the camera. So gone is the 30-second limit. I just keep scrolling past that until I get to 90 seconds, or even longer if I require that. Now, you may think it's not necessary, but I can tell you it's something I use all the time. Anyway, I shot my compositions and couldn't be happier with the results of the images I captured that night. So even though I may not get there till probably next year, I feel like I've achieved something special this time because, I don't know, it's a different perspective. And as you know, the weather doesn't always play ball on our Nightscape adventures. Yes, this trip was spontaneous. In fact, not planned at all. But I had the advantage of knowing the area quite well because of my prior visits. Now that's a big thing, and in this case, saved me hours of potential location searching time. And as far as I'm concerned, a little local knowledge is priceless. So there you go. I must admit, it took a fair bit out of me. I didn't get home till well after 3 a.m. And I reckon the coffee that I bought at an all-night truck stop was most likely the worst I'd ever tasted. But I guess it probably kept me awake for the long drive home. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I love what I do here on the channel and very much appreciate every one of you for tuning in and following along each week. So until the next video, you guys have an awesome week and I'll be seeing you soon.